Hello everybody, so today I will show you how we can use iMC based platform in order to make some zero-touch provisioning. I hope everything knows what means ZTP. So if you know this, you know that we have some different types of option in order to make ZTP. First one is the simplest one, which is ZTP using a TFTP server and a DHCP server. So basically it is very simple, but on the other end, you always deploy the same configuration files, or you need to change the configuration file each time you want to deploy a new device. So it's not very detailed, not very easy to use finally. Second option is to use Airwave. So in Airwave there is a ZTP feature. So there is already a video on this one. So I encourage you to see this video. Another option is to use the BIMS module in iMC, which is very complete, very detailed. So you can make a very big deployment on 1,000 of devices in the same time using parameters and also using out-of-band management when you don't have direct access to the device and so on. And the last one, the one I will show you now, is the ZTP feature, the auto-deployment plan feature in the iMC-based platform. So you will see it is very easy to use, and also it is very customizable. So you can use parameters. So this means that you don't have to change your configuration template each time you need to deploy a new device. So first of all, let me show you that on the device I will use, there is no configuration. So you can trust me, it is a blank out-of-the-box device. So to do this, let me connect using console. So I am connected on this one. If I remember, yeah, here it is. So here is the device. So you can see I just booted the device. You can hear it also, perhaps. And you can see here, where is it? Startup configuration file does not exist. So there is no configuration on the device. And if I enter, you will see if I display current configuration. So by the way, it is a 5830 device, so a Comware V5 device. You can see the version here. And you can see there is only the factory default configuration. So there are many interfaces. Okay, and if I display startup, there is no. Okay, so this is a blank device. So now let me unplug it, so we'll have less noise. And I will connect it at the end of the demo. How does this ZTP feature work? So let me share a slide with you. So first of all, the device will boot. So I plug the power. First thing, if there is no configuration, no startup configuration on the device will ask for a DHCP IP address to the DHCP server. And on the DHCP server, we put option 66 to point to the iMC server, which is a TFTP inside, and also we put option 67 with the name of the initial configuration file to download. This initial configuration file is a very simple one which just define SNMP community, user, telnet user, SSH user, and also IP address DHCP allocation on one interface. Okay. So this is always the same for all the devices, and we can put different configuration in the same file for different kind of device. For example, Comware or Aruba OS or Cisco. Okay, next step. Now the device knows the IP address of iMC and the initial configuration file to download. So he asks for this initial file to iMC, okay, and iMC sends this initial configuration file. At the end, if the MAC address of the device or the IP address of the device match a rule in iMC to provision a full configuration, iMC will send this corresponding full configuration to the device. And at the end, iMC will restart the device with the new configuration, full configuration. Okay, so now let's show how do we configure this. Okay, so let's go to iMC server. So here it is. Okay, so here is my iMC server, and let's go to the configuration center and, auto deployment plan. So first thing to do is to prepare the initial configuration file. So the first file with a very minimal configuration. So here there is one by default which is compatible with ComeWare v5 and at the end also Aruba OS device. So you can see very simple one, DHCP alloc on the interface VLAN 1, telnet enable, SNMP agent, and also local user credential. Okay. And for my demo, I configure a new one, which is this one, which is compatible both for ComeWare v5, ComeWare v7, and also Aruba OS. So you can see it is pretty the same. So I put IP DHCP alloc on the management interface, okay, and also depending on the device, if it is a router, there is not for this one, so I use the Giga00, okay, and I put some line which are for some for ComeWare v5 and other for ComeWare v7, okay, and at the end I have also the Aruba OS. Okay, so this is the first initial configuration file. After that, we need to find the MAC address of the device in order to put a deployment plan. So let me show you. Let me use this. Oh, it's a little bit heavy. So let me share my camera here, full screen. Okay, so here is my device. Yeah, and as you can see, somewhere here, perhaps it's not very readable, but there is the MAC address on the sticker. So I will use this MAC address for my zero-touch deployment. Okay. So fortunately, I made a picture of this serial number, so I can use it. And let's go to the auto deployment plan. So what I will do, you can have different plan for your auto deployment, for example, for switches, for routers, and so on. And in my case, I will use this one, and I will add an operation, a new device. So I will use a configuration template. Let me show you first, perhaps, the configuration template. Here it is, which is a full configuration for my switches at home. So here is my full configuration file. So you can see I have some parameter like your system name, okay, the domain name also. I have also some ACL, okay, to restrict the access to my management interface. And also there is some other kind of parameter somewhere. I have the management IP address at the end, I think. Yeah, here it is, for example. So I will use another management IP address. Okay. So now let's add the device in the auto deployment plan. So I will add the device. So I select first the configuration file I want to deploy to this device. Okay, here. I put the parameters I want to use. So, for example, switch home1. So then I have the domain name. So home. Okay. Admin name. Admin password. Management IP address. So let's say I don't remember. I think this one. Netmask. SNMP read community. Let's say public private. Location. So location is, I don't know, my city, and contact me. Okay. You can also deploy a new software at the end. You can also run some CI script if you want. And this one is very important because this is where I will match the MAC address of the device with the configuration file. So the MAC address is this one. So D07E and so on. I think. Okay, this is this one. So the format is this one with dash between the character. Okay, you can also, if you want, match an IP address instead of the MAC address, and at the end you put the final management IP address, so the same as I configure here, in order to add this one to the iMC base platform monitoring. You can also change the access parameter. So yeah, I will use telnet. SNMP settings are okay, I think, yes. And telnet settings I will change because I put admin. Okay, username and password, admin. Okay. And I click on OK. So now everything is ready. You can see that the deployment is waiting. So I just need now to boot the device. So let me do this. Perhaps I will cut a little bit here the demo. Okay, so you can hear the device is booting. And on the same time, I will show you this. So you can see the device is starting. Okay, so this is a 5830, yes I know. And so let's wait the boot. So it takes some time. Okay, so the device sees that there is no startup configuration file. And so here he is getting the DHCP IP address and all the option in order to get the initial configuration file. So this will take some seconds. Okay, so he say it will take a long time, but yeah, it will not take a very, very long time, you will see. So it is downloading the initial configuration. Okay, and now first phase, initial configuration is done. You can see the prompt I input in my initial file, IDP initial configuration. Okay, so in iMC during this time, let's see what we can see. If I refresh, you will see that it is being executing and it is adding the device into iMC. And if you want more detail, you can click here. So first, obtain the Mac. The basic configuration file is okay. So the initial configuration file is deployed. And then iMC gets the MAC address and match the MAC address to the one I configured in the plan. Okay. So let's check. Okay, you can see now it is deploying the startup configuration. So here you can see device added, okay, into iMC, and then deploy the configuration file. Let's see. You can see some connection, by the way, here. And now it is rebooting. So the startup configuration file is deployed, and now iMC is rebooting the device. And let's check, refresh. We will see reboot the device, exactly. And so if we check, deploy successful, and now it is rebooting. Okay. So again, it will take some time to reboot. So let me change the window. Okay, so now the device rebooted. So I just cut a little bit the video because it takes some time to boot. And so if I click enter, if I enter in the configuration, you will see that I have my new prompt, SW1. And if I display the current configuration, you will see I have my full configuration with my domain name, the system name, okay, my IP address, my ACL, and all the configuration I put in my full configuration template. So as you can see, I use parameters, and so I can deploy this same template to all the switches I want by changing only the parameters. Okay, so let me check the management IP address. Yeah, it's okay. And SNMP community are okay. Yeah, so everything is okay. And so now, if I come back to iMC, let me check, refresh. it is backupping the configuration of the device now. Okay. Okay, so successfully deployed and auto deployment finished, operation succeeded, and let me check all the different steps. So first one, initialization. Okay. Then add the device to iMC, deploy the startup configuration file, reboot the device. Okay. Modify the device parameter in order to manage in iMC with the new IP address. Backup the new configuration, and finished. So everything was successful. And if I open my device view, so my switches, you will see my new switch here, SW Home 1, with the new IP address here. And if I click, I can manage it in a normal way in iMC. And I can see the configuration backed up here. So that was zero-touch deployment using iMC-based feature. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will come soon to watch some new video in our YouTube channel, ABC Networking. So cheers, bye-bye.